Yes, I am recording, and forgive me for the 10-minute late start. Um, me and my girlfriend just had a baby girl, so we've been in the hospital the last few days, and just got home and had a really long night. I guess we had our first really long night in many long nights to come, but I ended up just getting just a little bit, or arriving a little bit late. I told Okay, so I know one, two, three you guys, four you guys are new. So far, there's probably gonna be more people popping in because all the notifications went out just a little bit late, and well, actually a lot late. But I'm glad to see you guys here, all you guys. And um, what I like to do when I start is I like to um, ask each of you if you want mind introducing yourself, what your current level of coding experience is, how you found the event, and what's got your interest in the event. If you don't mind, you can share it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and share it as well. Either way will be fine. And hello, Serena. I'm not sure if you're new. Um,
Hello, yes, I am.
all right. I didn't know if I seen you already yet or not. That's why I just curious. All right, so you're new. All right, so you just popped
Yeah,
in right now. I was
yeah,
just asking everybody if they mind sharing a little bit about themselves, like who they are or what their current level of experience is in coding, and what got you interested in this event, and how you found us, things like that. That'll be nice if you don't mind sharing.
yeah. You want me to start?
Yeah, yeah, you can. You can if you don't mind. So
Okay.
I give
Yeah,
people the option. You can type it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself. Either
yeah,
way.
no problem. So I'm Zarina. I've my background is more technical support. Back in the old days, I'm now more of a PMO projects. As part of my one of my roles, I did start to sort of learn Python coding to sort of manipulate the back end of sort of Jira to get out data and publish it on Power BI. So that's my knowledge. I don't. It's not vast knowledge. It's just I would say I'm like a beginner, but I do know the strings and booleans and stuff like that. That's all I kind of know.
And Python, you said Python and Java is your primary?
No, just Python.
Python. All right. I
Just
thought you said
Python.
Java. Maybe because you said Spring Boot. Uh, Maybe that's where I was picking up Java. All right. Just because some people I believe use that with Java too. All right. So
Okay.
yeah, Python. Yeah, that's great. So yeah, I always tell people the research that we do every year. I'm either provided it by my sponsor, which is New Camp Coding Bootcamp, or that's who I work for. I'm also a graduate there, but or I dig it up on my own. But I look for reputable sources and two in-demand programming languages in 2024. Of course, there's many of them. There are many of programming
Mm-hmm.
languages out there, but I believe JavaScript and Python are always in the top five. Like they're always in the top five. Um, Give me a second. I'm looking in the comments just in case. All right. Thank you for sharing, Zarina. It was good to hear that. All right.
It's okay.
All right. So anybody else want to go next?
I can go. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you good.
So, Brendan, to just give a little bit about my coming from, I'm actually a very recent graduate of Coding Bootcamp Fellows. So, um, about kind of my trying to make connections because, of course, what everybody says is that how successful you are about the how many resumes you send out on LinkedIn. It's about how you network in with people. So, and with in terms of my coding knowledge, The boot camp wasn't my first introduction to coding, but it was one of the first times I had studied it formally. Although before I had taken a class in Java and Python, the boot camp I learned focused on JavaScript, React, React Native, JS, that's servers. So yeah, I Script really is my comfort zone, and it's just the more I because I come from a background in software where it was before I was into software development. I was a musician and composer, and the kind of that creative thinking that you do in music really lends itself well to the same kind of thinking that I do when I'm writing code. So the more I do it, the more I enjoy it. So it's great to talk to other people who are enthusiastic about coding.
All right, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, so you kind of a little bit spread out on them frameworks. You mentioned maybe you're thinking about specializing in one, or maybe you hinted towards that.
Well, yeah, that's a good question about what I specialize in, and maybe this be interested to hear your thoughts because um yeah, I mean, I really enjoy React and React Native, so I might focus a little more
Yeah,
on
React
those
and
and
React
to
Native.
really know them well.
Yeah, that's good. That's like already perfect when you pick a specialty. Of course, me, because I'm running my own company, I can be wherever I want. But and then like I have a future project plan that I plan on writing in Svelte with Svelte kit. But that's something for the future. But Yeah, for sure. Like when I first learned though, I was all over the place. Like I ain't gonna lie. Like I was trying to like be jack of all trades, and I was trying to learn every programming language under the sun and every framework I could for JavaScript, just because I was thinking that it was possible at the time to actually know all that and move forward with all of that. But it is possible. Like don't get me wrong, but it's a more limited knowledge because you don't really get that really in-depth knowledge and that it really like that expertise in something unless you specialize in it and really focus like real solidly on that one thing because they're like so immense, like they're so in depth, they're so immense. The changes are constant. There's major changes. There's breaking changes real frequently, especially with uh, the React, like in React world, I'll call it like in React Native. Those are Meta's, childs there, and then we have the other one. I guess another good one would be Next.js because their Next.js was built by Versal, and they basically teamed up with Meta to build that a full stack platform that works really well with React. All right, but uh, I've always shared my opinions on things like that, and I think that yeah, if you're going for tech job, especially at like the more of these big companies. A lot of them, especially for in JavaScript development, a lot of them are, or all of them, damn near all of them are using React or they're using some kind of React Python or Java Python combo. Or something to that extent, or just straight up Java. So those are the ones you're gonna see. Of course, Java more rarely, but especially when I'm looking at like apprenticeships or internships, you see a lot, like especially if you're looking in in JavaScript in that arena, there's gonna be a lot of competition. Like it's gonna feel like very oversaturated. Like you're competing with hundreds or thousands of people. It's gonna feel like you're gonna be like, damn, like how do I stand out in front of all these people? And that's a type of thing that, because based on feedback I have, and then experience that I have where I tell people that like the key to standing out is like not all these it's not about all them certificates that you can just amass. Like it's not about having like a stack of certificates, because at the end of the day nobody cares about them. Like yeah, people care because they're achievements, so don't let me sound like a jerk like that, because I'm not trying to sound like certificates don't matter, because to a certain extent they show that you committed to something and it's an achievement. But in the end of the day, the where it really comes down is your technical knowledge. Of course, your soft skills, but your technical knowledge, as far as like what's called your hard skills, is your technical knowledge. And that's when you have to undergo a technical assessment as part of that interview process, and you have to demonstrate that you can actually build software and that you can and your fluency in your chosen programming language. So like that's a very different from what people see normally in like when we see how we're being taught in universities or coding boot camps. It's a little bit different. In some coding boot camps, they try to touch on that, and most of them don't. But it's very different because you're expected to, for example, if I was hiring for example, I don't know, we'll just say a front end web developer because that's one that most people like. But I'm a full stack developer. But you know, if I was hiring for a front end developer, for example, um, I'm gonna want to see um, your technical knowledge, how well you perform that, and I'm going to I would let you use VS Code, but I'm gonna check your extensions, make sure you don't have any AI turned on, make sure that we can minimize your autocomplete. If not, if we can turn that off. Otherwise, we can go to a coding platform, a different platform where they don't have those features available, or maybe do some JavaScript programming on something like HackerRank or Code Wars, because what I'm going to want to see is your fluency in JavaScript. Like I'm going to want to know, okay, because how well do you use your programming language? How well do you understand it? The actual programming language, if you're able at this point to wrap your mind around the logic, and if you understand like basic data structures, algorithms, and things like that. Give me 1 second. Somebody's knocking on my door. It's maintenance, yeah. Yeah, go ahead, come in. Go ahead. It was over here. They started right here again, and this morning I cleaned it up. There's a lot all over the place. So I don't know where else it could be coming from.
Let me go upstairs real quick.
All right. Yeah, that's where it was last time.
Well,
Maybe.
was there a leak last time?
Yeah, remember I had you guys come last time, and then that a guy
That was
looked
with the
upstairs.
guy with the beard, Nick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was thinking it was upstairs. Yeah.
Okay. Let me go check upstairs then. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll leave the door open. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, all right. Sorry about that. All right. So, like I was saying, if you guys have any questions about that, my advice is, I really think it's very important to be like, okay. So, two things I think are important when you're first learning. It is important to um, put yourself out there where you're looking at, or I guess getting exposed to all these programming languages out there, and maybe even these frameworks to some degree. Um, so that way you can find the one that you really want to nail down, that you really want to specialize in. So, in a way, me in the beginning of my adventure, you know, my journey where I was trying to think I can know it all. And you know, I say that like that because that's really what I was doing. I'm not being, you know, any type of way, but I really was. I really thought when I first started, because you know, I knew zero, had zero knowledge, so I was thinking just like before, or any other profession I did before that, there's an extent to the profession I can just know, and then after that, I'm just applying it. But with software engineering, it's not that easy. It's not that easy. I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you it's easy. It's actually a lot more difficult than that. So out of some of the professions I've done in my past, software engineering is definitely the hardest one. But it's also been the most pleasant one for me. Like I fell in love with it. It's great. I like it, and I like the logic of it. And yeah, go ahead, come in. Go ahead. Yeah, thank you. And
All right. Well,
give me 1 second.
yeah, just little leaks.
All right. All right, sorry about that. All right, so like I would like to like hear your guys' take if you guys have any questions about what I said, or if you feel that maybe there's something you want me to like talk a little bit more in depth on, or maybe you want to share your experience. I was, you know, I know I kind of interrupted, but I was looking forward to you guys picking back up where if you have no further like queries, then maybe you can go ahead and if you like to, don't feel like you have to. I just like to hear your guys' experience in programming or coding, uh, why you came to the event, and how you found us, and who you are. A little bit about who you are.
Ask you a little more about the you said about the interview, technical interview process. That's so important. A friend of mine showed me some various interview questions that got, and what you said is, some of the questions are not, some of them are difficult, but some of them would be something like in the middle of a linked list. It doesn't take much code to solve that. You're just using two pointers, but really what they want to see is, okay, can you solve this, but can you explain it very clearly? It has more to do with your ability to walk the interviewer through the code rather than just solve the problem. Would you say that that's something to be thinking about?
Yes, yes, that's definitely. I think that's whoever gave that advice gave you good advice. So yes, so like I was gonna get into my slides real briefly and tell you guys a little bit about my experience because did have worked in with probably at least a dozen senior software engineers, and then I was gonna tell you a little bit about my experience. Give me 1 second.
Your filter's blocked off. Those coils are dirty. I'm gonna go grab some coil cleaner and replace your filter. Your condensation line is backing up into this.
Yikes!
Yeah. So let me go grab a new
And that's what it is. It hell has to do with that.
Yeah, because you're
Yeah.
looking at one of the new air filters. We don't have the exact filter for it, so that's why this part's clean, but all the air's coming in here. This thing was completely blocked
Whoa.
off.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab your new filter, grab some coil cleaner. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut that bubble, and then Monday I'm gonna have to come back because I need that to dry.
Yeah.
Like once I open that, I'm gonna grab a bucket, empty out all the water, but I need that to air dry so mold doesn't grow in there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is that for the cooler?
yeah. This is for your AC
Will
handler.
we still be able to use it?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, okay. I was
yeah.
curious. I was gonna be like,
Oh
damn, it's
yeah,
gonna
you're
be
fine.
hot.
You're
All
fine.
right.
It's not. It's not
Just because we
frozen
have a
over.
newborn baby now.
Oh yeah, it's not frozen
All
over.
right.
When we say it's frozen over, you have to leave it off for about 4 hours. But yours is not frozen over, so you're good. It's just you're blocking off a lot of airflow, and it's trying to work itself too hard. And the condensation line is probably trying to freeze up on itself, but it's probably melting and it's clogging up the condensation line.
All right.
So all that water's backing up in there. So
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
I'll be right back.
All right. Yeah. Just leave the door like just a little. You can close it, but I'm gonna leave it unlocked for you. All right. I apologize about that. Sorry for the wait. All right. So just had maintenance over at our apartments this morning, and all right. So you guys are so far asking some or you guys sound great. Some of you guys that have shared, and then Brendan, you sound a little more experienced than you than originally thought. But yeah, that is really good advice you're giving. And then okay, so like what I'm gonna say is that as far as technical interviews going, yeah, you're expected when you're given this problem, you got to show that basically, I guess at a basic level, at a just so we don't have to overcomplicate things, is that you're going to be put in some sort of context. We don't know, if they're going to, it depends on if you're in person or on the net. Um, what we don't know what your coding editor is going to be. There's a lot of unknowns about technical interviews that people can't just give you hard answers for. Like I can't say for sure they're going to let you use VS Code, for sure they're going to let you use autocomplete, or for sure they might let you look at the documentation online because there's a big chance they're not gonna. And then there's this, I also can't say for sure on the flip side, even though it's more likely that they're not going to let you reference documentation, especially for things that you should already have nailed down. Um, but I can't tell you for sure, because somebody might be forgiving and be like, okay, well, maybe you forgot a little bit of the syntax, and okay, maybe let's see what you can do if you're able to take a peek at MDN. Maybe not. Maybe right when you miss that, right when you're off step right there, they don't tell you, but pretty much the interview's over. Like they're done. They want to see. So that's what I mean about the oversaturation. If we go back to that, is that If you think about how many people are applying for web development jobs, like front end, back end, full stack, especially front end. So I'm gonna really poke at that one because there's a lot of people coming in that want to know front end development, because especially because back end development is a lot more harder, I would say, compared to front end. Front end is a skill. Front end is tough, but I'm not gonna say front end is the easiest thing in the world. But I'm just gonna say comparing the two, it is a lot more easier doing front end development than back end development, and there is a lot more competition because of that. So if you think about it, say you put yourself in the shoes of that employer, and they put out an application for a front end React developer, or you do just anything, whatever it is, they're looking for a front end developer, and you got like 500 or 1,000 applicants, and maybe somehow you have a system in place where you're trying to, weed out qualified applicants, which I don't trust AI, these some of these AI systems. Like, I do love AI, so don't get me wrong, but I don't really trust too much these like trying to put my prospects in the hands of AI. Not yet, because it's not exactly that. I don't believe it's that capable or that powerful, because I could lose out on probably a gem. Like, there could be this diamond in the rough right there that I lose out on because maybe they didn't have the most perfect resume, and the AI kicked them out, kicked them out of me. So like, I would say that somehow, anyway, but somehow you end up in a coding interview. Just think about that you're gonna want, especially if you're paying somebody the amount of money that software engineers get paid. You're going to be paying somebody this amount of money, and some people think it's small, but when you put it in context, it's not a small amount of money. Like, no amount of money is a small amount of money, especially when you have a firm grasp on the value of money, especially in our economy, how it's a little bit fluctuating. If I'm gonna pay somebody, we'll just go with like a median $70,000 a year. That's just like a median range, or a range you see a little bit more common around this time for an entry level or junior developer. That's a lot of money to me. And if I'm gonna pay somebody like that, I want to get the best person I can, even if I gotta weed through 1,000 people, right? Like, even if I gotta somehow figure out how the hell, even if I gotta get help, and I got, from somebody qualified, of course, that I know is I could trust and is qualified, and somehow we and I'm looking for that diamond in the rough. I'm gonna want the best person too, because if you think about it, that's that they're looking for one. Most of the time, they're looking for one position, and you got hundreds, if not close to 1,000 or more applicants, depending on when you were looking for, when you're applying. And I know that sounds overwhelming, or that kind of sounds like screw this, but how do you stand out from that? And I try to tell people that when you're learning, don't go on the internet copying and pasting these projects off the net, because everybody knows what they are. We all get the notifications on our phones, or we've all been around on in our beginnings, we've all been around on YouTube, or we've all been around on LinkedIn or Facebook, and we've seen some of these things people are putting out there, and you can tell when somebody's learned in the United States, and compared to somewhere like, for example, in another country where they have a different coding standard, or where their style of coding is different. I can see it. Like, I can tell, I can look at it, and I can tell whether you've learned somewhere that is implementing a really high level standard of coding, and depending on all of the best practices and things that we look for that I've been trained on. Um, Give me a second. I'm sorry about that. All right, so back to, we have somebody, Indigo Jr. Respectfully, I'm an absolute newbie to every type of coding known. I'm struggling to even operate Discord right now. I'd like to say BG McMullen has a beautiful voice, firstly. All right, I don't know who that is, but all right. Uh, Secondly, it's wonderful to hear about the experience of each participant's presence. All right, so I didn't catch somebody's name, BG McMullen. I didn't catch who that was, unless I'm just not seeing it in my chat, or unless they're talking about you, Brendan. So I have no idea, but yeah, thank you for the comments, Indigo. And we don't care, like, at these events when I do them, I don't care what level of experience you are. And I mean, we do have a couple people that we have the majority of people that are new, or very little knowledge, or we have a very few people that are, like, maybe I could say that I met that are mid, and we have very few people that I could say that are senior. So there are a few seniors hanging out on this Discord channel that I've met, They've, some of, I think only one of them JavaScript, and like I'm talking about like besides me or anybody that's affiliated with like my company or anybody that's affiliated with my sponsor. What I'm talking about is like members like you guys that have found us and come and joined us, and there have been people at a senior levels like doing that have implemented like different, maybe a couple different programming languages for some of them, or one of them. I think the highest one I've met so far had 26 years of experience. His name's Lou. You'll catch him around here once in a while. His name's Lou. Yeah, Lou Rosas. I believe you'll see it. It's on his Discord. But there's a couple others, and it's great to have like everybody here because what I try to do with this community I'm building is I'm trying to build an environment, um, not just where because everything has a hustle. So I'm not gonna lie, I have a hustle. Like I have programs that I run, but at the same time, even free for somebody that's not looking for anything paid, I'm still trying to make my platform interactive and meaningful and helpful for even somebody that doesn't want to pay or somebody that's on the self-learning path that maybe they don't have intention to pay. But I do have programs available where we try to teach people JavaScript at a high level, or depending on what you experience, because I can't just, it's unrealistic to just take somebody that knows nothing and expect you to code at an advanced level, but we can get to that sometime. um, there is a mentorship of some sort and a coding boot camp associated with this event, but we also get into other topics too. So we don't just base this event just based off of the programs that we have. We do have those programs, so those are options for anybody that's interested. I just like networking too. I enjoy networking and helping people any way I can, whether that's because if somebody has a genuine interest in joining a boot camp, they're going to join regardless, right? They're going to join any boot camp they want, regardless of my input. And if I can help you in that path, even if it's not with my sponsor, of course I hope it is. Of course, I'm not going to lie. But even if it's not with my sponsor or my employer, which is New Camp Coding Bootcamp, I would hope I can help you at some point and help you make the best decision that helps you in your future, right? Even if it's with my mentorship program, hell yeah, I'd love to teach you guys. But if it's not, well, I hope that in some small way or in some way you can find help either from me or from my platform or from somebody willing to give you time on this platform that might help you maybe get unstuck on a problem you're having in your projects. But back to like I was talking about, that just keyed my memory back, anchored my memory on projects. When we were talking about projects, you want your projects to stand out, to be unique, like something that is like like it can be innovative to some degree, and I don't mean something that doesn't exist yet. I mean even if you're reinventing the wheel, something that's innovative enough to be uniquely your touch on it, like you're something you have passion for that you want to build in whatever programming language or JavaScript framework that you have passion for, and something that stands out from all these copy and paste projects that are all over the internet. And another key way that you'll give yourself away about your projects is because, say for example, we'll go back in the employee employer scenario again. Say I looked at one of your projects and you have, it's publicly available on GitHub, so I've already looked at the code, and then it comes down to the technical interview and I'm asking you to write code using one of those programming languages that you used in your project. I'm going to see by that fingerprint, by what you've shown me in your project, I can see whether you wrote that, whether you really built that project or not, because believe it or not, everybody has somewhat like of a fingerprint when they're writing code, where it's almost like a handwriting, almost like the best, like that's the best description I can give it, is like just like when, if anybody's done handwriting before, so I know it's a different time in our times. A lot of people text or they type on their computers, which is good. I'm not taking away from that. But if any of you are old enough, or even if anybody still handwrites in our times with all the technology, like your handwriting, you can see your handwriting distinct from everybody else or from most people. That's how it pretty much is with coding. It's like you might not believe it or not, but that's how it is with coding. You're gonna leave a mark on the style that how you write code, on the methods or concepts that you pick to integrate into your logic of your code. And I'm gonna see that I should see that reflected, not probably not depending on the level of the projects though, especially ones that are more recent to when you've applied. I'm gonna want to see that like somehow sync. Otherwise, if they're so vastly different, I might not point. I would point it out, but somebody might be respectful and might not want to point it out. They're just gonna tell you no in the end because they're gonna just know. Someone with experience is just gonna just know. But and that's any level of somebody that's been experienced and they've seen code and worked with code and they've been coding for a while. They're gonna just know. Um, versus uh, just calling you straight out on it, like some, and you might feel like this guy's a jerk, he just called me straight out on this, and maybe you weren't expecting it. So I just want to give you that heads up, especially like when you see like, hey, let's rebuild YouTube in Next.js or React, and everybody's just copying and pasting this junk off the net. That's not how you want to learn. That's not the best way to learn. All right, we'll get more into that in a minute. Anybody else have any questions? All right, we got Indigo saying, wonderful. Have you worked on projects in companies AI integration, for example, building bots? Yeah. So yeah, I've built some bots too. So I've built with LLMs. I've learned how to train LLMs. I've built my own LLMs, or my own chat bots to some degree. I've integrated like voice synthesis and where you can like have integrated third-party excuse me, libraries where you can use the camera, like a bunch of stuff. There's like so much stuff out there, and I put a couple of them out there that I made it public just because I have a lot of projects that I'm either building or like active or that I have planned that are not public, only because they're proprietary, and I'm not trying to put those out there because those I plan on monetizing those in the future. But I have the projects that I was comfortable making public are usually from the university for my AI classes, and I didn't mind putting those AI projects out there because if somebody were to take that code and do what they want with it, as long as it's for educational purposes, I could care less, right? Because it's not like it is a good project, but it's not so high level where it's production ready where I'm trying to monetize it. I never, like, in other words, if I put something out there public, I never planned on, like, even if there's a slight plan to monetize it, I never really had a solid plan to monetize it because it's not really something that I felt like taking to that level. Um, and you know what I mean? I just wanted somebody to see that I understood AI, how it works, and that I could put it together, whether it's through an LLM, like a custom LLM, like on Hugging Face or some other platform, or whether it's building my own, or whether it's using like ChatGPT's or OpenAI's API, I could say, because technically ChatGPT is OpenAI's product, but like they are gonna have API, their API you can access for a small fee. You'll get like maybe 1 million prompts, I believe, for like a small fee, depending on which version of the model you use. And then of course, in the code, you're gonna have to, program it up a certain type of way, depending on how well you want to train it or constrict it to be a more precise model, because their model is pretty damn precise, but it's also almost like a know-it-all, because if you can get on ChatGPT and ask it for anything, and it's gonna give you something, right? But like you can build a model like and give it more like define its I guess you could say its scope, like, and make it very 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 precise on one topic, especially if you're providing it a data set and training it pretty consistently, and then testing it to make sure that it's getting more and more precise on that subject. So like, yeah, there's a lot even to learn just with AI. There's a lot to learn for web development. There's a lot to learn for AI, and then because the way things are going right now with the AI boom, if you want to like mash them together, like I want to build a web app or a mobile app, and I'm gonna throw maybe some AI, some type of AI integration into it. That's even more knowledge that you're gonna have to start learning and get to know and all that stuff. Of course, nobody's expecting you to be like a computer scientist level, or like where they're gonna expect you to like uh, build an LLM from scratch type deal. But if you did try doing that, because there's some tutorials out there for free if you wanted to try. So of course some of them feel a little bit like they're missing information or but there's still good information out there, and you can see how in depth how difficult that process is. You're still gonna learn a lot from it. Like even if you try to in some way implement that yourself. So like try to tell people when you're learning online, all that cutting and pasting is when you're a beginner is hurting you because you're not developing the muscle memory you need to um, really be able to like write your programming language like on call. Like in other words, like if I know people get nervous, right? When you're coding in front of people, everybody gets nervous. Maybe there's some people that don't. So you might be nervous and think like, man, you know, I got nervous and froze up deal. But you got to find a way, like that's the whole purpose of pair programming when you're learning. If you could find a program that does pair programming, because what it's going to do is it's going to take that, it's going to help you work past that nervousness, so that way when if you do score that interview, you're less likely to make mistakes or freeze up because you already had that experience coding in front of somebody and you're past that point. And you also have to get past that mental, like like I'm gonna tell you about like me. uh, I had a when I first started coding with those senior engineers I was talking about, and one of my experiences, they made me feel when I was first learning like everything I did was wrong, and like they would just criticize everything. And instead of looking at it negative, because I had to train myself, okay, they're not, because you see on the flip side, you see what's in your mind and you see what's in reality. In other words, I'm thinking, man, they just want to nitpick me. They're gonna say my work is trash. They're gonna say, you know, everything is wrong, wah 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 wah, because that's how it feels. Because they, you know, they're gonna nitpick the hell out of you, depending on how helpful they are. But they're gonna help you in return, and they're gonna build that knowledge. And then you got to snap out of that and say, you know what? No, they're gonna help me. They're gonna make me better. I'm gonna become better because of this process. And over time you're going to see you're going to turn into a beast, especially if you have able to take advantage of of experiences like that. And because of that one-on-one pair, if you have in a program that does that one pair programming, you're not going to be nervous to code in front of people. It gets to a point where it just works that out. And if somebody puts you on the spot, like, yeah, share your screen, and you know they're gonna be watching you write code, and maybe they turned off autocomplete. You can't use AI. You can't use the documentation online. They just want you to just, here's this problem, and walk me through it, talk me through it, show me you understand the problem, write me an algorithm, and maybe you know in some type of pseudocode, whether it's plain English or some type of plain English is preferred, I think, but some type of pseudocode at some level. Show me that I want to see your logic, that even besides solving the problem in code, show me that the way you're thinking about solving the problem, in other words the logic in your mind behind the reasoning in your mind behind solving this problem, is going to work out. Because you can be in a you can be in that when you start doing problem solving on platforms like Leak Code, Hacker Rank, Code Wars, and you see these problems on there. Everybody has mental processes, like we're all thinking through solving a problem, and we start thinking of our solution, and we could talk about algorithms where I'm going to create this step-by-step approach of how I'm going to solve this problem. And it's like how I always give people the analogy of like a cookbook. Like say you don't know how to cook something, but it looks delicious, so you get the recipe, and it's got you know all your ingredients and everything, and then it's got that step by step that you got to follow to make the meal, right? And that's what I mean about solving the coding challenges online. You're gonna want to build that out in plain English, which I think is a better to write it out in plain English than in pseudocode that looks a little bit more technical, kind of similar to code but not quite. You'll see if we researched it, or if we looked it up online. So you know those of you that don't know can see it. But if I read your pseudocode, and you know of course it depends on how well how experienced people are, but if I read your pseudocode and I could see that your logic would solve the problem, then I know that then I know you got a good mind for software engineering, because I know you can wrap your mind around solving programming problems, right? It's a very important. It's hard to explain it, but it's very important because it does relate. I've had people say, how the hell does leak code or corridors relate to what I'm gonna do? And I'm telling you right now, it does relate, and you really see it the more projects you're building. So if you start building projects at a beginner level, it's not going to be blatantly obvious. But when you start, especially when you start going into back end development, or even third-party libraries that are like JavaScript libraries, maybe for like animations and things like that, you're gonna start seeing all these concepts that coming up that you were learning, that where you can select the best possible solution to optimize your application, or optimize your app, or speed up your animation or whatnot, make your user experience better, or make your backend run quicker depending on the data structures you're selecting and things like that, or just the overall solution that you're building. And you don't really get to see that till you're at that level where you can build projects that are at a higher level. At these beginner level projects, you're gonna have a hard time realizing how these uh, programming problems are helpful. But I tell people, if you can, reserve time every day and learn something, and to implement uh, your I guess I would say, like, you can have a profile on CodeWars, um, HackerRank, or LeetCode. Those are the most common ones. There probably are others. There's CodeChef, I think. But those are probably those three that I mentioned are probably the common ones, and that you're building on these things. There's also one called Neat Code. So it sounds like Elite Code, but it's not the same as Neat Code. It's with an N instead of an L. But Neat Code, they have a very few free features, very few. It's more introductory to see if you're gonna like the style of learning. But it's depending on how much money you want to invest in it. It's a little bit pricey, but they're gonna walk you through, similar, just like leak code problems, but they're like selected. They're handpicked by whoever by the software engineer that designed that platform and monetized it, to help you get through that, get the fundamental knowledge, and the knowledge, other levels, or to take you to another level of knowledge that you need at some level, because to really present your, or have, wrap your mind around the data structures and algorithms and the things that you're going to be learning, and the and that in those type of jobs, because they get really technical, especially on the back end. But we have that's for people that want to pay for something like that, and then we can look at that too if you like. Um, all right, so like, I'm gonna quit uh, bumping my gums here and see if anybody else wants to share anything. You guys want to share anything? Hello. All right, so somebody, the dude, I think your name was, if I said seen that correctly. I didn't know if you were trying to share or not. All right, so we're gonna get to moving on. Brendan, anything you'd like to share with anybody? All right. Um, all right, thank you. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and share these slides a little bit. All right, Brendan. All right, I see you unmuted yourself. Yay,
Oh,
nay.
sorry. Can you hear? I think my microphone wasn't working. Can you hear
Oh
me
no,
now?
it's all right. Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I didn't have anything particular to share, but you mentioned what was the AI program with Hugging Face? Is that what you
Yeah, cause on Hugging
talk a little bit
Face,
about? Can you
you
talk a
have,
little bit about that? Because I'm not familiar with that.
yeah, on Hugging Face, do you have a lot of large language models that are being built by either big companies or individuals that are like really, really, really specialized in this type of thing. You'll hear about them, like, I don't know, you'll hear about like Meta, for example. They had the Llama, like Llama 2, Llama 3 that just came out. And the large language models are basically uh, the brain of the AI. Basically, it's like the uh, that foundation that you're going to be building that AI application off of, and you want to make sure it's like, because they're not all equal. So like I'm gonna say, like if I shared my screen and we went to Hugging Face, or even just if you want to go to Hugging Face, let me share it. Let me share my screen really quick because that might be helpful. Yeah. All right. Yeah, you can let me know if you can share my screen. I know we're gonna see Discord at first, but I'm gonna minimize that. I just want to make sure you guys can see my screen. Yeah. All right. Hopefully. All right. So it looks like it to me. So I'm gonna keep going. But Hugging Face. There we go. So if you even just type in Hugging Face in the browser, you're gonna see it's like this little yellow smiley face with hands waving at you. Um, that's the community I'm talking about. And they're gonna have all these models. If we go to models, that you could choose from, and basically they're the like we have Meta, like we were talking about Meta's Llama 3. This is 8 billion parameter model. We can get into that because you're gonna have like I don't know, 3 billion parameter models, 7 billion parameter models, 8 billion parameter models, like 12 or 13 billion parameter models. Like they just keep growing and growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. They get bigger and bigger. But you can run them locally on your computer depending on how powerful your PC is. So like on my PC right now, I have a gaming PC, of course, but it's got a NVIDIA GeForce RTX 40 series graphics card, a GPU, and the CPU is a Ryzen 9 CPU. And so I can run my model on CPU and get great performance, or I can run it even faster on the GPU because NVIDIA builds their graphics cards not just for gaming; they build them for AI acceleration, which means that um, NVIDIA right now, basically, if you don't know, NVIDIA powers the world's AI. Basically, they are like their GPUs power the world's AI. They don't they also they're the primary GPU that's mining Bitcoin. So like anybody that's interested in mining Bitcoin, you're and of course if you go looking online for if you're trying to build like a Bitcoin miner, or even if you're just trying to build like a PC that's gonna just run large language models, the GPUs are very expensive. They go anywhere from $300-400 all the way up to thousands of dollars for these GPUs. But it depends on how what level that you actually need them at. As a student, you're not going to need anything. Like for example, when I was first learning, and my first large language model that I ran on a GPU, on an NVIDIA GPU, was a 3050. So it was a 30 series GPU, and it was the RTX 3050. And you got to make sure that's the minimum because NVIDIA does have 20 series GPUs, but they're not able to accelerate AI. So like maybe the ones you're gonna want, the RTX stands for ray tracing, and that has a lot to do with gaming. But you also want to make sure that the GPU you have built in your computer is capable of AI acceleration. And I've done it on a 3050, so I would say a 3050 and higher, you're gonna be okay as a student, and that you don't got to worry about spending those thousands of dollars for those crazy expensive GPUs. But back to what we were talking about, like you can even if you don't have that GPU, you can build a model because I did. So like one of my models will run on CPU, which means that if you have a decent CPU, which would be like if you've heard, like I'll talk about things maybe you've heard, like maybe an Intel 5 or Intel 7 or Intel 9, like they call them i9s, i7, i9, or like a Ryzen 5, Ryzen 7, Ryzen 9. Then they have different variations of those models. Like they've got, different, numbers you'll see in them, like 5600X or whatnot, or whatever it is the case may be. No matter what, they're going to have dozens of that same model that each of them are more performant than the other, and they get more and more expensive. But even with the CPU, you can basically get something like a Llama 3. We can put it in context, like in whether we're using Visual Studio Code or we're trying to run it on Visual Studio like 2022, either one. If we're using Python, if we're using JavaScript, I would say VS Code, and then we can go ahead and use templates, what are called template prompts to try to define it a little bit further. And then you're going to have all this other logic in your code, and you can run it right in your code editor on the CPU or on the GPU, and you can prompt it just like ChatGPT, but locally on your computer without the internet with one of these models, depending on how much space you have on your PC too. So like my PC, I got 1 TB PCIe SSD. I think it's a PCIe NVMe SSD. Because I got a laptop recently new this year, so it's like the latest. It has all the latest tech in it. But I get it because of that, because I'm still a full-time student, but I'm going into my senior year. I'm running my own business. I love building and working with AI, and then it's got at least 32 gigabytes of RAM on it. So I can't kick this laptop up higher than 32 gigs, but I could build me a custom PC and give it like maybe 64 gigs, and that should be plenty, right? That should be plenty because um, in as far as you running one of these models at home, the highest you're gonna need is 32 gigs, like the full extent of having the available 32 gigs. Because just because you buy a computer that says 32 gigabytes of RAM, that doesn't mean that 32 gigabytes of RAM are available. You might have to kick it up a notch. So like that's where you're gonna have a hard time finding a laptop that's gonna give you more than 32 gigabytes of RAM. So me, I got the laptop because of portability, because of gaming, because I like gaming on my downtime at the end of my day, and or even sometimes in the middle of the day, when I just feel swamped and I need a break, I'll take a, I don't know, 20-30 minute break, and at least I have I have my little hobby that I like to do on the side. But the most important part is that my computer's capable of doing anything I needed to do as far as building any type of software or program that I need to build, and especially at a student level, because in my experience at the university I attend, the AI classes, they require, even though they don't really tell you, you figure out pretty quickly that the specs you got to have on your PC are pretty damn high, and they get expensive even at that. It's like the laptop I have, it's not a cheap laptop, and it's an $1,800 laptop, plus that's with tax. But I think you're also gonna want to get a warranty, which kicks it up a little bit more. Like right now, I'm using the 1 year warranty it comes with, and that's what I was thankful for, because for that price, it better come with some kind of warranty, right? So I'm using the 1 year warranty it came with, and then when that expires, it's gonna cost me probably another $200 or so just to renew that warranty for another year or two. But like you're gonna want to make sure it's warranted. Even if it's not warranted, then if you're gonna go with like a custom built PC, you can get it from someone that is warranting it, or you can learn how to warranty it yourself, depending on if it's brand new or not. Or you can, or if you're willing to go that mile, because I did. I know how to build my own custom PC, so um, you can also go that route. And then if something fails, you know how to test it, you know how to find the issue, you know how to fix it, or you know how to replace the components on it. So that's like a whole other game too. So don't think that to code you have to learn how to build PCs. You don't. That's just something I do on the side. All right. But anyway, back to these models. If you want to click on like Llama 3, and it's going to give you more details about the model. But well, yeah, like I was saying, my PC does have 1 TB on it. So you're going to want at least, I would say, if you're gonna run more than one of these models, you're gonna want at least a terabyte, because if you have half a gigabyte, like 500, I can believe most come with like 512 gigabytes of RAM, or I'm sorry, of storage, and um, that's not you're gonna run out of that really really quickly, because these large language models, these files are big and heavy, and then if you're trying to like amass these models up, or you're creating maybe a, say for example, I want to build my own local something like ChatGPT, where I have a user interface where I can prompt it, but I also want to change models. So I have multiple models on my machine, but right from the app itself, the front end on the app itself, I can just change my model. On the back end, the code's already, the logic's written up for that. And it looks it looks great, and I can switch models and do whatever I want, have it look through data if I need it to, or just prompt it for anything I need, just like Chat GPT would. I think the only thing that well, actually, you know what, you can if you're using OpenAI's API, of course, you can browse the net, but it's gonna be that's a whole different ball game, is trying to get the AI to actually browse the net if you're building it yourself. That's going to be more research that, and you're going to have to see if you're even capable, if you're even capable of taking it to that level from home. But you know, if you do, because I haven't tried that yet, if you do, hell yeah, kudos to you. The um, but basically, if you get like OpenAI's API, like if we go to, I'll go back to Hugging Face right now. If we go to OpenAI's API, like I was talking about, believe it's right here. So we're not logged in on my account. Yeah, okay. And we go to start now. We could go download the app because there's an app, but we're not interested in that. We go to start now. We just go to the docs. Oh wait, that's not it. All right, hold on. It took me to that. Let's go to, I thought that's what it was. All right, so we're gonna have to go to products, documentation. Oh, let's go to pricing first, and then we'll go to documentation. All right, so pricing, like I was saying, you can have access to GPT 4.0, and right now it's $5 for 1 million input tokens, which is like, that's a lot of tokens they're giving you for, but it's expensive, $5, because every time if you build this app that's got all these users and everybody's using it, you can imagine how expensive that's going to get. But you can use many, like if, for example, for your own project, depending on how efficient it is. But if you need it to browse the web, um, you can actually customize this model and get it to browse the web for you, I believe, at some degree. But you have to do more. Uh, you got to go further in the docs for that. But like if we go to the docs, they're gonna tell you, you know, there's always a quick start, but they're gonna tell you, like here, like advanced usage, how to use their API, so you can write the logic yourself. Um, and connect that logic so you could do it what you want. Like we have image generation, text to speech, but there's also third-party libraries that do some of these things, or text to speech. But like for me, if I was using OpenAI's API on for to run to run all that logic on my app, I'm gonna want to use as much of their endpoints as I can, or as much as their you know, anything that they're providing already. I'm likely gonna go with it because it's something on their platform and it's probably the recommended approach. But that's just that. Hugging Face is different. So like Hugging Face, they just give you the large language model itself, and then you get the large language model and it tells you like its intended use. You got to read the documentation, and it's gonna talk about, you know, maybe some things that you haven't heard of, but that's okay when you're in software engineering, any field, and you run into things that maybe you haven't heard of. Then you should probably start researching it and learn what, at least at a basic level, what the hell they're talking about. So that way, you can say, okay, is this something that I need to worry about at this point or not? Um, you can train it, like you could train it. They have benchmarks. Uh, I'm pretty sure they have somewhere. They normally have, oh yeah, to use metas, they probably don't have it on this page, but some models will have instructions on how to get the model up and running. Here you have to agree to Meta's to share your information with Meta because they want to see how you're using it. They're only going to give you access to their model to use it, even locally, if you're sharing data. So like if you want something more private, like something that you'll have to look for it. So like and sometimes they'll say that you know, especially one that's not like let me look I wish they had a list of ones that I've been looking up more recently. Um, because there's somebody that develops these. He goes by the bloke, I believe. Let me look. Trying to think if I can think of. Maybe he's got a model. Let me see. No, not bloke AI. I think it's the bloke. Let me look. Oops. Yeah, here we go. So you'll see this little green logo here, the bloke. Um, and then we've got. Let me look. I don't know. I don't see anything more than Llama 2 or Mistral. Um, and there's difference in these codes between GGML, GGUF, things like that that you got to learn to. Uh, And uncensored is what I was talking about. An uncensored model is one that basically you're gonna be able to, you're gonna have freedom with it to do whatever the hell you want with it, and that's what they talk about, where the people give you warnings to use them responsibly. And then you're not gonna have to, likely with this guy's, I haven't seen this guy, he makes good models, and I have never seen him require you to share your information with him just to use the models. So that's a good one too. I just want to share that. There's Grok. Um, I'm pretty sure this is the one by Elon Musk, Grok. I believe it's the same Grok. It might be, it might not. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe someone knows. We'd have to look it up. But yeah, you got Grok, uh, um, the key players, Meta and OpenAI, I think right now. Oh yeah, and Google. Google's trying to get in the mix, but I don't think Google's as great as some of these other ones. And then they're all going to have different model names, but basically you're going to integrate this model into it. I don't know, let me see if I can go to, let me go over here real quick. Yeah, let me go here. Let me go to my portfolio website real quick. All right, so let me go to my AI tab. These are the ones that I wanted to share with people. This one was built in C++, that one's an older one, but this one that I did in Python. Let me see. Oh yeah, that was my portfolio project too, just so you guys know. It's got like about my resume, it's got my education, my student innovation project, my portfolio, my contact, things like that. But on this one, for this one, it's like uh, I have a AI bot that I'm building in my second version of my website for my company called Ladybot, and then I'm doing Ladybot 3.0 here. I'll be working on soon. I'm gonna do that one in JavaScript, but I was just practicing with this one when I was at the university, and I was doing it in Python. And you're gonna have like you'll see when you're doing this type of stuff. This VS Code file, don't worry about that. That's just so that way you're not getting spelling errors, things like that. That's all I have in there right now. But you're gonna still need a get ignore file if you guys don't know what that is. You'll learn more about that when you start learning web development. README, what you're looking at here, which ain't very extensive. It's just basic. I didn't want to make it too crazy. And then just looking at the main Python, you're gonna see I have like I imported custom to Kinter for my UI. It's a GUI. It's a graphical user interface. So it's a GUI to use with the chatbot. And then I'm using Llama CPP. So I'm importing the bloke. Actually, using one of the blokes models here. Llama CPP. I think it's Llama 2, and it was something I was running as a test. You're gonna have all these other imports that you see. This one has speech recognition, and it's got oh yeah, text to speech, yes. And then it also has speech recognition because you can talk into the mic and talk with it, and it's gonna take your words and parse that into text, feed it to the AI. The AI is gonna work with it, and then it's going to give you back a response to your words. So that's how I made this one, so that way you can chat with it on your mic if you want, versus just text. But also so that way I gave it a voice, that way the AI, when it gives you back its prompt, it's also gives you the illusion like it's speaking to you. um, but it's got all kinds of code in it, so like I don't want to get too much into that, but I have this one shared publicly. And then it does take a pretty good computer to run this one. Not anybody's computer is going to be able to run something like this. And I have all these links down here, um, of for the libraries or other resources that I used to build it. So that way, if somebody was like, hey, um, I'd like to see how that's done, or maybe reverse engineer it or see what I did, you could see that. You could look more into it here for custom to Kinter, for the speech recognition. And now that I'm looking at it, I didn't I didn't put a link for the bloke on here, and I should have, for the model. And it's mainly because the model's not in here. I didn't put the model, the large language model. I didn't put it on GitHub for a reason. Like in my git ignore, I think, yeah, that's the one I ignored, was this one. I ignored the model because the model is heavy. It's a huge file, and I didn't want to put that on GitHub because basically this model, when you take if you were to take this code and run it in VS Code on your end, you can use any you can just make some changes in the code and use any model you want. And so that's why this is irrelevant to put in GitHub. You don't need to put the model in GitHub, but I think that's why I didn't put the link to the bloke. But this is one of the bloke's models here, and it said GGUF. But you'll learn all that as you go. I don't know. Maybe I muddied the waters. Does that help a little bit, uh, Brendan?
Yes, thank you. That's really fascinating stuff. Thanks for sharing all that.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't want to like go too crazy in it because I do know how to use Python. So like at the university I went to, I learned how to use C++, and as a result of that, they teach us about C and some of C syntax, so that way you can distinguish between C and C++. And then we learned Java, Python, and then I have a class coming up where I'm gonna likely get introduced to C sharp, and they also have Rust there where they teach us Rust, but I don't think I'm gonna be learning Rust. Um, it's optional. That one's optional for me. Uh, but they also have, of course, at a university, they're going to have a lot of classes. But one thing the university didn't get too in depth with is with web development or JavaScript. I learned a lot of my JavaScript or my web development skills from the coding boot camp when I first started. And then I learned even more about that when I was at an apprenticeship. So I don't know, let me get to that real quick while I'm sharing my screen just really quick. So I'm going to kind of like uh, holy cow, give me 1 second. My battery's off. I had no idea. I thought I was running power right now. Give me 1 second. All right. It's because we've been at the hospital for the last few days because my girlfriend was giving birth to our baby girl. So I had my laptop on the go and I just barely had to set it up back at home. All right. So back what we were talking about. Let me get rid of some of this stuff real quick. Then we're gonna get rid of. Oh yeah. So I wanted to share this PowerPoint. Give me 1 second. Yeah, there we go. And then I'm gonna go through it quick, or I try to make it quick and painless for you, because I know not everybody likes slides. So I put together these slides with my sponsor, or I work for New Camp Coding Bootcamp, and they are a coding bootcamp that I graduated from for their full stack web development program. Give me a second, I had to get a drink of water. And so this thing is put together. There's a lot of information in here from New Camp too, and then we're gonna get to that. So who am I? You guys already probably seen a little bit about me somewhere. I'm also on LinkedIn too if you want to find me, and I use the same picture everywhere, even though my hair is longer now. Been growing out my hair now for a year. All right, so uh, you can just call me by Fernando. New Camp Coding Bootcamp graduate, full stack program, and then I'm also a full-time student at University of Advancing Technology, and I'm studying there the advancing computer science and artificial intelligence. So it's going to be a double major, because at this university they allow you to double major. So I opted into double major because I was also fascinated with AI. I also completed a software engineering apprenticeship where I was trained by senior software engineers for 8 months, and I learned a lot there. So like I'm gonna say like in the end that all of my experiences mattered. Not any one of these experiences uh, gave me the level of understanding or capabilities that I have now. It was a combination of experiences. I'll just say that. And I'm founder and CEO of Dark Mode Devs. Why a career in coding? I always say that this is, we can say whatever the hell we want in these slides, but everybody's got their reasons why they want to get into coding. But I guess this one's more focused on why, and the why is because we all know that technology is what it is these days, and it's not going to go away. It's only it seems like humanity as a whole is getting more and more reliant on high tech, some type of technology at a high level, and and the industry is booming, regardless of whether you think they're hiring or not right now, because they have slowed down on hiring, but that doesn't reflect the growth of tech, the industry as a whole. That's gonna continue to grow and grow, and leave us behind if we don't get involved with it. So like if we're not trying to get involved with it, keep up with it, and we're not trying to maybe one day become a contributor to that in some way, whether it's small or big, it doesn't matter. If we're not trying to really have anything to do with it, as the years go by, we're just gonna get blown away, and that's just the way it is. Um, the demand is also high, so there's a reason it's high. And the reason I give in these slides is straight up because it's hard, and we're gonna get to that. It's not easy. The demand is hard because it's hard to find somebody that can actually do it. Like, cause anybody can drop a couple lines of code or whatnot. Anybody can cut and paste off the net, but not just anybody um, can like really, 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 really code. Like, I mean, um, like where you're writing it like English, where you understand it like very, very well, and you get to that point where you don't even like the algorithm's a nice touch, but you don't even need that anymore because you're able to at least at your first level of coding, because you're always going to have some kind of code review process depending on where you work. At least that first filtering of coding, where you can when you've been past the gamut of the testing and all that, and they're confident in your skills, where you're likely not going to be writing algorithms for everything you do, but it's still a good practice to implement. Because sometimes, like, I don't always do it, of course, but sometimes I do. I'll take the time to really think it through, and if I can't hold my thought process, I'll start writing it down on paper, or I'll start typing it out, and then I'll start thinking further about it. So like it does still come in handy, and I'm not even by no means I'm not gonna put myself out there like I'm this big time expert, because even me at the level of knowledge I have, I still know that I have a lot to learn in myself. Because it's constantly changing. Like I said, there's always these big updates and major changes. And when they say that in software engineering you have to be a lifetime learner, that's like literal. Like you're gonna be like lifelong learner. Like if you're not learning, once you're done learning from an educational institution or from a mentor or whatever, you're going to be basically transitioning into self-taught, even if you didn't start that way, because it's just easier to be self-taught once you have experience, because you know what you got to learn, what you got to keep up to date with, and things like that already, versus when you're at zero experience and you're trying to approach it from a self-taught standpoint. It's a lot harder because you have no direction. Maybe you don't even have a network yet. You don't know where to be, what you should be learning for whatever industry, or I'm sorry, for whatever branch in tech you're trying to get into, or what tech stacks are relevant, or what tech stacks are in demand that are going to get you hired. You're not going to have the direction like you have from like instructors, professors, things like that. Why a career in coding? While most people do it for the money, me, obviously, I don't do it for money because I was brave enough to start my own startup. And anybody that's done any kind of startup, or anybody that's been an entrepreneur before, they know how hard that is. It's not easy. Um, but I do it because I love it. And the clients that I've gotten for my company, I appreciate that, and it's been great. But these tech companies out there, these big tech companies out there, they're gonna be looking to pay you like like it says here, there's an average that was on Glassdoor. Some people go Glassdoor, some people don't. But I've seen anywhere from, I don't know, around 50-ish K, 55-ish K, all the way up to like 120-ish. That was though, depending. It just depends on when you're looking, what year you were looking in the past. But nowadays you're probably going to see more and probably for JavaScript developers, probably in the 70 to 90 range when you're entry level, probably more in that area than anything. But it's still a lot more than most people make, just starting a career anywhere else. Like if you think about all these other jobs out there where people just get in at an entry level, even if they've had even if it requires some type of professional training, none of them just start like making money like that. Most people don't. So like that has a lot of people hooked. Like a lot of people are like, you know what? I want to get into tech because I want that tech money. Like I'm tired of like some people think I'm tired of living paycheck to paycheck. So I want to get make more money, right? But I'm telling you right now, because I've been in my life, I've been poor, I've been rich, I've been in between. And I'm telling you right now, even when you have a lot of money coming in every month, you could still be living paycheck to paycheck because if you're stretching that money, to its means, like to its absolute end, then you're gonna require the amount of bills you have coming in and or the obligations you have every month are gonna you're gonna keep them going higher and higher to that standard. So say for example you make, I don't know, I'll just throw a number out there, 5 grand a month, but your bills coming in are like similar, and they don't even have to be. And it's because the more money people make, the more money people add to their list of bills, and then they put themselves in a trap where they're working paycheck to paycheck anyway. So in reality, you can find a way out of that thinking. So don't let that don't let I need to make more money so I can stop living paycheck to paycheck uh, seem so real to you, because it's an illusion. Because most people, okay, I'm not going to say that for like the lower minimum wage jobs, because that might be where it's actually holding true. But like when you're making money higher than that, you just need to learn how to budget your money, because I've seen people make a lot of money and then they require a lot of money every month and they're still living paycheck to paycheck, because if they don't make that amount of money, they're in debt, right? So I'm just trying to just help you break out of that way of thinking a little bit. But let it be because you love it, I would say. If you're going to get into tech, let it be because you've discovered coding and you love it. It's something that you expose yourself to, started learning, and you like the logic of it. You like creating things. You like what you're doing, because it's difficult. And if you're going to do it successfully, the thing that's going to get you past those difficulties is loving it, is actually loving doing it. All right, so we got what about AI? Some people, I've had people say, hey, AI is going to take our jobs. Well, I've tested AI, like I've showed you guys, or like I've done, even not just at the university, I've done it on my own. And I build AI projects on the side. Some of them are proprietary, so I won't talk about them or show them. And I know what AI is capable of because I've even tested OpenAI's AI. I've tested everybody's AI, and I'm going to say that you got a lot of these projects out there that claim that, well, you give it a prompt, it'll build you production level software. And that's, I'm going to tell you right now, that somebody's just trying to hustle you hard. Like it might be able to give you a website that looks like just crap, right? Like it, I'm just gonna say that like right now I don't believe is at the place where it's replacing anybody, because I still see, not just from myself but from other people in my network, that people that actually have a solid understanding of programming and actually do it really well, do it better than AI right now. So I would say that the thing you got to worry about is, like it says here, that if there's a developer out there that knows how to use AI and leverage it really well, they're going to replace you. It ain't going to be just the AI by itself, at least not yet. I think we're far away from AI thinking and be able to perform like a human does. Right now, it just gives the illusion because it's a natural language processing type of AI. It's not really like where it's uh, thinking really like like a human, like actually how our brain works. Like that's where the magic is right now. That's where there's bigger companies trying to figure out how do we make AI that can think like a human does and process information like a human does. And ChatGPT gives a good illusion, but it actually doesn't do that. It's actually just stringing the next best guess together, one after the other. That's basically what it's doing, and it does it good. And it gives you the illusion like it read and understood what you just told it, but it doesn't. But that's the point we want to get to in AI. That's the goal, is where we can get it to actually think and process information like a human does, and be able to talk about it like a human does, and be like correct about it. So like I tell people before, uh, I'm sorry, going back to the slide. New Camp did had this study that they had. I believe they found it somewhere and they put it out there on LinkedIn, where they got like these, for example, anybody familiar with Stack Overflow, for example, you know that that's a platform where if you're having issues with, if you're stuck, like if you're trying to perform a task when you're building a project and maybe you got stuck. And so you go over there and you post your issue like, hey, I'm stuck. This is what I'm doing. And then people tell you, okay, let me see the code. Maybe you provide some kind of code they want to see further. Give me more code or whatnot. I want to see your file structure. I want to see this, that, whatever the case may be. And so another human being or other human beings, plural maybe, give you a solution. They look at your stuff and they give you a working solution, right? And people look at Stack Overflow and they start copying and pasting from it, which I think it's a bad idea to copy and paste code from anywhere. So, but it's better if you go to somewhere like Stack Overflow and you learn from it, and it helps you arrive at a better solution for your solution rather than just copying and pasting off of it. But that's a different topic that we kind of already touched on a little bit. But what they did was they say, for example, we took 100 of those problems that humans successfully gave 100 successful answers to 100 people that had problems, right? It solved their problem. It was 100%. They solved their problem. They took, say for example, I forgot the exact numbers, but they took, say for example, they took 100 of those and then they had AI do it. Okay, let's see if how accurate AI can answer those same problems. AI was not just buggy as hell, but it was only able to do it 52% of the time with bugs too. So like if people understand what bugs are, that makes it even worse in my opinion because the code. Some people that don't have that level of knowledge or code, they might look at the AI's code and think, "Oh man, this is on point." And I would say for very small tasks, it is. Maybe for small tasks, it is, but for like high level tasks, it's not gonna be anywhere near that yet. So that's why I tell people, I already seen, I already know. You could tell me whatever you want if you'd like, but I already know from my experience at least that AI ain't there yet, and I don't feel threatened at all by it. But like I tell people you shouldn't be because it still can't. It still can't do what a human does. Like we're just like too unique. Like I think in some way we're gonna still be better than the AI for a while until they get that AI able to operate like our brain does and process information how we do. That's when I would say, okay, I think we're now, and I think we're getting in trouble now, right? At least to that high level, because they got to get it to a pretty high level, and then they got to get it higher than 52% crap code from an AI. All right. So we got this guy, Microsoft, first job, 70,000 a year, lays down on his couch coding. So just in case anybody is interested, some people, I guess the message here is the comfort of your own home and setting up your own environment however you wish, as long as it's productive, as long as it's not putting you to sleep, right? And it's actually productive for you. I tell people I like this guy's approach because it looks like it's easier on your back, especially on your lower back. Sitting in a dang computer chair for hours every day really hurts your lower back. I do, I have a gaming chair and I'm in it all day every day. And I can tell you right now my back kills me, and I've looked at this guy's solution. I'm like, well, maybe, but I already know I'm the type that would likely get so comfortable I'm gonna fall asleep. So that's why I wouldn't want to do it. Because when I lay down, it's not. It's only a matter of time before I'm feeling sleepy time, right? But if you could do it, by all means. So why is there so much demand? Because like I said, it's hard and it's got a high learning curve. Like it's not easy. It's one of the most difficult professions out there to pick up and just learn. So it's possible that people, like you have all these people out there on the net talking about, hey, yeah, we can teach you to code and get a job in tech in 6 months. That's possible depending on your level of experience, or maybe depending on your brain, because some people learn quicker. Some people are able to just sponge up information that quick, but that's in very, very few people. uh, and maybe that's the people that they put out there on the net. Like, yeah, I have this client. I taught them to learn. I taught them code. They went through my program, and in 6 months they got a job at Amazon or something. That's like one person out of who knows how many people they've worked with, right? Because not everybody can do it in just 6 months. Um, I'm not even one of those people that was able to do it in 6 months. So don't feel like because you see all these great advertisements online, don't let that deceive you, where they put that out there like it's like they try to paint the picture some of these places like it's so easy and they can just get your foot in the door so quickly. Expect it. I think expect the best, like they say. Hope for that best. Like shoot for that. Like if you go for a program like that, shoot for it. Be like, you know what, make it a goal, but also understand like, well, what if you don't? Like, what if it takes you longer? What if it just takes you longer to wrap your mind around concepts, to learn the things that you got to learn to actually build projects at that level? Some people require more time. Like some people just require more. Everybody's different. Everybody's different. Like when I was at that coding boot camp at New Camp, um, some people, oh yeah, back to that slide. Some people, um, at the end of at the time, the full stack program was about 8 months long at the time. It's different now; it's shorter. Um, and there was some people that did get a job with New Camp's partners or whatnot, even outside of the partners, they went and applied on LinkedIn or wherever they applied, or Indeed or whatever, and they actually got a job, a React development job or front end developer job or whatever it is they were looking for. Most of them got front end developer jobs. I think only one of them got back end development. Not everybody got jobs after that 8 months. There was some people that said, you know what, I need more time to figure this stuff out and digest it, and I feel like I still need to work at it and further understand it. And you know what I mean. And I was one of those people in that boat. I'm not gonna lie to you and say after taking a coding boot camp, I was this big time expert, because I didn't feel like that. I still don't feel like that, even though I feel like I could build whatever I want now. You know what I mean? That's how I feel now. But I didn't feel like that my first year learning. All right, so we got four options, and we're gonna talk about those four options, which is one, the university. And like I said, my experience, I've been through the whole gamut. Where I started off self-taught, didn't like it. I needed help. I needed more direction. I like the having a good network, and I like the idea of having somebody to point me in the right directions, and maybe somebody's immediate feedback that has more experience than me. That's what I liked about the instructor or the professors or the mentors. And so I transitioned. I started at the boot camp, but I eventually transitioned into the university. And this is like, of course, it's big debt for anybody that is able to give 4 years of at least 4 years, because it depends on what level you're taking at. Sometimes a bachelor's can take 5 years, especially when you're double majoring. So if you're going for just a straight up bachelor's, it'll take you 4 years. If you're going for a double major, it might take you 5 years. If you're gonna go for your master's, it's gonna extend it. It's gonna take you anywhere from 6 to 7 years, depending on their program. You know what I mean? And that's if you have that time to invest that, and if you're able to invest, if you have either the money to invest, or here in the United States, depending on your situation, you can get a loan, somewhere from somewhere, whether it's a private loan or a federal loan, where they're gonna pay for your schooling, and then when you graduate, you got to start paying it back. There's always that option, but it's also the most expensive option. The traditional boot camp, these ones go anywhere from, I could say, like my employer or my sponsor, New Camp, they go, their boot camps are anywhere from like 3,000, I think maybe tops 4,000 or 5,000. But you're gonna have a lot of these boot camps out there that you look at, and they're gonna be like 10, 15, 20, 30, $40,000. I think I've only seen one that was like near $60,000, and that's when I was like, whoa, if I'm gonna spend that much money on a boot camp, I'm gonna go to the university, just straight up. Like that was just my reasoning behind it. Somebody might feel different. Someone might say, well, for that much money, maybe they're going to teach you at a higher, hopefully they're going to be teaching you at a lot higher level, and make sure that you're digesting that information like really, really well, that you're able to really, really perform. Because that's a lot of money to just throw at somebody and then come out no better than you were when you came in, right? Um, so think about that too, that investment. But New Camp Coding Boot Camp, they advertise themselves, and I've seen that they are in the United States anyway. Remember, the United States, they're based in the United States in Washington, and they are I believe in Bellevue, Washington. They're the most affordable boot camp. They offer full stack front end, back end programs, and even cybersecurity programs that are comparable to anybody else for a whole lot less. You can teach yourself online, which can cost you zero or whatever amount of investment you want, and that's the self-taught. And I always tell people about my friend that I have that spent 4 years self-taught, and in hindsight, she also works for New Camp Coding Boot Camp, and she said in hindsight, if she would have just taken the damn boot camp, she would have cut that 4 years down a whole lot more. But she wanted to be one of those people that were, that took pride in being self-taught. And for her, it just made her, it just made it not just more harder for her to learn, but it also made her invest more time than she would have if she had some kind of direction. And then there's mentorship, where you find somebody that's willing to go one-on-one with you, or even in a class style, but they're willing to go one-on-one with you and really learn with you and teach you, and you get that live feedback. Like in our mentorship program, you get that live feedback where you're one-on-one with us 5 days a week for a couple hours every day, and you get that live feedback. Like, I'm gonna put you to the test, I'm gonna teach you, but I'm also gonna it's gonna feel like I'm nitpicking you, but I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm trying to strengthen you, make you better, give you that immediate feedback, and walk you through it. So like, we're there doing it together. It's not like I'm just gonna tell you, here, just do this and get back with me next week. It's not that type of deal. It's more involved. Like, it's more involved. Um, all right, so we got average completion rates. I'm not going to get too much in this, but supposedly New Camp came up with these statistics where they found that people that are doing online learning, because a lot of us do online learning from home, you have to, if you have these 7 key strategies, it's going to take your success rate from 5 to 15% to 70 to 85%. Because and the reason why they bring this up is because this is like real data from other places. Because most people that don't have an instructor or don't have a teacher or don't have a mentor, they don't have, professors, things like that. They don't have a structured environment where the deadlines are real. They don't have, like, they're not being graded. They're not getting live feedback. They just go get this course, for example, on some platform where they're paying maybe, I don't know, 20, $30 for the course, maybe 50 or 100 for the course, and they can do whatever do it whenever they want. And most people, they never finish it, ever. Like, that's the low end here. They ever. But you're gonna want to look for programs that like, everybody's charging for their programs, but the amount that you're investing, for example, like, for me to go to the university and not pay attention and just fail is stupid, right? So, like, that's why I said, like, when I decided to go to the university, I took it really seriously. If you looked at my LinkedIn profile, I even got another certificate this delivered to me. I'm a 4.0 GPA. I've gotten on the president's list or the dean's list every single semester since I started, and I'm already going into my senior year after this summer. Because I give it my best, and I take it very serious because I want my official transcript to be the best, and because I know my competition is fierce, and there's gonna be the best out there that I'm competing with, right? Like, you gotta expect that. You can't be arrogant enough to think you're the best over everybody, because that's not the reality. But I do my best and I take it really serious. And it was the same thing even with New Camp. When I invested my few $1,000s at New Camp to go to their full stack boot camp, I did my best. I got the A's over there. I showed up and did the work. I made sure I was at the meetings, that I spent my meeting with my classmates and my instructor and all that. Deadlines, and that's what we talked about, the real deadlines. The deadlines in a structured environment are real. When you're watching a video, they're not real. You can submit something, or you can do something anytime you want. In a year from now, it's not going to affect you, right? But it affects you, of course, in the sense that you're just delaying your learning. You're not taking your learning serious. But when you're in a structured environment like a university, a boot camp, mentorship, you're given real deadlines that you're expected to adhere to. Otherwise, you fail, and then the money you've invested is just wasted. So you're gonna feel that. That's why those two go hand in hand. Your investment with your deadlines. Combining different types of learning, I'll say. I'm not gonna get too crazy into these concepts, synchronous and asynchronous, but they're thrown in there because, web development, JavaScript development. If you understand, it's synchronous and asynchronous programming. But anyway, basically, it's supposed to be um, that you're gonna have coursework that needs to be done at your own pace, and you're also going to have coursework that is done by other students in the same course collectively, and then you're also going to get feedback from your instructors at some point, and maybe your instructor is going to have to step in and help you with something to make sure that you're grasping the concept before you move along. But the thing about, just like anything, is that they have to keep moving. So like in like a boot camp, or like for okay, so I'd say the thing that distinguishes it is like for boot camp they got so many students, or even a university they have so many students, they can't just put the brakes on everything just to they can't stop everything running the whole program just to make sure that you've digested whatever you've digested before they move they can't hold everybody back on account of you, so they have to keep moving, and it's really fast paced and they're throwing you all this information really quickly. But with the mentorship program, we go as especially when it's one on one, we go to your pace. We make sure that you're understanding the concepts before we move along. Because I feel like the way I do it is I'm not going to just throw a concept at you if you can't even understand the one I just showed you, right? Or the one that we're learning. It makes no damn sense for me to throw concept after concept after concept after concept when you're still digesting whatever we just learned. So like that's the difference, is that it's more one on one. It's more towards your pace, and I'm able to gauge how well you learn and soak information in and move at your pace. Oh yeah, and this one was peer pressure, but good kind, where you're getting feedback from your peers, and your peers are also um, helping you improve. So like you're gonna want like other students, you're gonna want to be working in a group with other students where they're helping you and they're not high siding on you, like they're not arrogant and thinking, well, I'm the one that knows it all in this group, and then they don't want to pass on that knowledge. Don't work with anybody like that. You don't want anybody like that. You want to associate with the students that are all there to help each other and help each other grow and help each other advance. That ain't afraid to work together. That there's nobody there that's arrogant and doesn't want to share knowledge, right? Um, you and your work need to be seen, and that's what we talked about already. Basically, someone more experienced, you like your professor, your instructor, your mentor, whoever it is, you want them to see your work and give you that feedback because you need it. That's going to tell you whether you're on the right track and whether you can improve or whether you did wrong and you need to make changes, right? Depending on the institution, it's that feedback's going to be different. For the mentorship program, it's going to be I'm giving you the feedback with you, and I'm still walking you through it. Like we're gonna attack it together and do it better together. Give me 1 second. All right, all right, I'm back. Sorry about that. We have visitors because we had our newborn. All right, so um, and you need and of course incentives. So forgive the noise. All right, so incentives include like I would say like people do certificates, but maybe they have hiring partners, or maybe there's more like one-on-one interaction, like maybe an apprenticeship or an internship, which I'm working on giving at mine. So like, if you do really well with me, I might offer you in the end an internship or an apprenticeship where we can build a project at my level, at a company level, and then you can put that on your resume, and hopefully when you go somewhere else where they're paying you more money, then yeah, I'm going to give you the recommendation like, yeah, I really recommend this person. This person really knows what they're doing. You need assignments that actually help. So on that one, you're going to want to have assignments that actually get you the job. Like I said, you're going to want these projects to be unique. You don't want to be cutting and pasting them. What checks all these boxes? Of course, my sponsor. Of course, I'm going to say that right. But they really do. They're really great. And that's where I went. These are the boot camps they have. We have uh, web fundamentals, front end, back end, full stack, cybersecurity, job hunting. The cybersecurity program, of course, is separate. But I always recommend people take the full stack because you're exposed to the front end, the back end, and full stack, and then you can pick your specialty at that point moving forward. Cybersecurity is something completely different, and then the job hunting is where they help you um, with algorithms, interview prep, data structures, networking, setting up your social profiles, applying to companies, things like that. They get you interview ready. Um, and then the complete software engineering path is one of their other boot camps where it's all of them. where it's the fundamentals, the full stack with more in-depth back end, and then the job hunting at the end of that. Uh, and like I said, the most affordable, flexible, structured, so they're gonna be better than most boot camps rates, a lot less. Um, and then if you use my link, you get 5% off the registration fee. Then plus I can get you like $300 to $400 early bird discount off the boot camp itself. Plus our mentorship program is also currently 50% off, and you guys can look into that on my website. Um, and then like these are just a recap of what we went over. I'm not going to recap that, but I'm going to tell you to chase your dreams. And if you're into coding, don't stop. Oh, you got to get it. All right, so I'm going to say Q&A time. Q&A time. Anybody have questions? Anybody have questions about anything I shared? All right, I'm gonna take that as no. All right. So we have Andretta J. Congratulations. All right. Is Andretta here? All right, you are here, Andretta. All right. So we went over a little bit of large language models. We went over some other things. We got like 9 minutes left before I end the meeting here. Anybody have anything they have questions about or want to talk about? All right, no questions then. Huh? Well, thank you guys for coming. Um, I wish we can get more in depth with stuff. Sometimes when we have time, I like to do a little bit of JavaScript programming, or like maybe do some AI prompting. Last week we did AI image generation prompting and went over the docs on that a little bit. And so if anybody doesn't have anything else, also in the community, I guess I can go over the community that I have going on a little bit. You'll see that we have a project going on. And that project you can if you want to get involved in a group project where we're building right now we're looking into building an app. I have a GitHub for that, so I could tell you more about it, or you can look at the YouTube channel. Actually, if you look in the chat, we have a YouTube channel, and then you're gonna see videos about an app we're building that integrates artificial intelligence. And then we're doing that as a group, so it's like a public project. We're not expecting to monetize it, but in the end, if we want to, we're gonna. But if you go down to the project section, you'll see where it says Ingest IQ AI. That's the old name of it, or I believe that is the new name of it. Yeah, that's the new name of it. And then we came up with new logos, things like that. Let me go over there really quick, and then you're gonna see we have some people interacting in here. But you'll see this logo here that was designed by the design team, and then we have a development team, and then later on we're gonna do marketing with a marketing team. And so like you'll have different stages you're learning. I'm gonna implement some kind of code review process, so that way we're implementing code, but we're getting to a point where we're trying to restructure that project, because I was trying to keep it beginner friendly, because right now it's a little bit written. I guess somebody made a contribution for an app that would be written natively in JavaScript, and then we'd be linking OpenAI's API on the back end of that to have the AI integrated into the app. But we ended up, I'm going to end up changing that, at least to use code that's more beginner friendly, so people can learn, so that we all learn, and so that we don't lock nobody out of the project. So if you're interested in that project, you could DM me, or you can watch my videos and reach out to me at some point, and I can get you your email and your GitHub username, and I can get you access to that project, and maybe we can go over that project together at some point if you don't find the videos on my YouTube channel. So yeah, that's that. I think I have time to go over that really quick. Let's go over that really quick. Maybe we can go to the Miro board that we have set up there. We have the Miro board, yeah, Miro app. Let me see. because we're using it kind of with project management a little bit. Oops. Uh, where we did like low fidelity wireframes, and then we have like a flow, an app flow of the app, and we also have here's our board here where we're using for project management, where we have our development team, we're gonna have our design team and our marketing, but we're not at the marketing yet. The design team just finished all their tasks, which is here, where we have our team members, our tasks in progress, and our completed tasks. And if anybody wants to get involved on the coding side of things, you can just pick up a task here if you want and move it over and put your name on it, and that tells me that you're working on it. And then when you're done, you can move it over here. So we're still early in the project. Like we still have 3.5 turbo here, and it's changed now. It's 4.0 that we'd be using. So um, a little bit about the app is here, where we are gonna be an AI platform that informs users regarding the safety or regarding the foods or drinks they want to consume, whether they should, whether the healthiness of it or the safetyness of it. And they're gonna upload like maybe an image of the nutritional facts, or maybe they'll type it in the text field, and then the AI is gonna take that information and give them feedback on what those ingredients are, or what that food is, and whether they should think twice about consuming it based on what's inside of it. So that was the goal of this one. We came up with that idea, and then we started developing it together. So it's still in its early stages. And like I said, these are low fidelity um, um, proto. These are low fidelity wireframes, not high fidelity. This one's a little bit on the high fidelity side of things. And then we have our GitHub. So let me take you there really quick, so you can see our GitHub really quick before we call it a day. Where's our GitHub? Right here. So we have our GitHub here, and where we started the project. We have our branches, and then it's going to tell you how to get set up. We're going to go Bootstrap 5 because I wanted to make it beginner friendly and make it fully responsive, so the beginners can learn how to do mobile, fully responsive mobile, or not mobile apps, but a web app that people can access on their mobile device. And then, because we intend for people to use it on their mobile devices, and then we want to test it, and then if it succeeds in testing where there's a market for it, then we can transition into developing it into like a something like React Native or Flutter, where we're doing a cross-platform mobile application, something like that. Um, so there already have been contributions. So if any of you guys are interested in joining that, you can just let me know here in the chat if you want, or you can let me know if you want to speak, and then you can send me your Gmail and your GitHub username, and then I can share access with that, so you can look it over and check out the YouTube videos and see if there's anything you want to contribute on on that project. Anybody?
This definitely looks like something I'd love to be involved in. So should I DM you my GitHub and
Yes.
email?
Yeah, yeah. If you want to share, just DM me your whatever your preferred email that you don't mind sharing, and your GitHub username, and I'll add you to the project.
Sure.
Are you familiar with Discord already? How to use the direct messaging system?
I'm pretty new to Discord, but I'm sure I can figure it out.
All right, all right. Just asking. Just if you needed help, I already know how to use it. But yeah. Anybody else? But you're tech savvy really well, so I'm pretty sure you could figure it out quick. Uh, Anybody else? Okay, so we have Indigo typing. So I'm waiting for Indigo to finish typing so that way, um, so I can see if he has any or yeah questions or anything that needs any answers before we go. And then like usual, I always put the link from the chat. I'm pretty sure you guys can see it. It's pretty obvious, but just in case it's not, if you're on your phone, I'll post the link underneath Indigo's, just in case you want to check out the YouTube channel. All right, sorry I zoned out the last 2 minutes. Bootcamp mentorship. How can I get info on that? All right, so Indigo, what I could do is, um, okay, on my YouTube channel, I also have a recording where I share similar information. I could get you the link to that. I'll send it to you. I'll DM it to you, and then I could send you more information on the boot camp or the mentorship program, and you can let me know which one you're interested in, and then we can go from there. So I'll DM you that right now in a second. Yeah, you put great. All right. So let me, you know what? Uh, let me message you right now. I'm gonna send you a friend request, and there we go. And then I just sent you a friend request, and then I'm gonna send you those links right now when we end the meeting. All right. Anybody else before we go? All right. So thank you guys for coming, and I'm glad I met you guys. And you guys can reach out anytime on the platform. Uh, I hope trying to create a community where we all interact and can learn from each other and do good things with each other and just learn the code. Like I said, you know what I mean. It's a passion of mine, and it's got to be a passion because it's tough. And that's it. Thank you guys for coming, and I hope you guys all have a blessed Sunday.
Thank you so much. Great to meet you.
Yeah, you too. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Is there? Thank you. Yeah, it was a baby girl. Thank you.